when you're the most beautiful person in the world, do you even have to say it? I don't think you do. Do you think Halle Berry just every day said, I'm beautiful, look at me, look at me? I don't think so. Okay. I don't think so. But there is this guy, Trump, who qualifies everything. He says he's better looking than the Democratic nominee. That's what he said. Okay. Now I could go in deeper. But I kind of want you to hear it for yourself. It was at a recent rally.
She said one thing that got me. She said Kamala has one big advantage. She's a very beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. So I decided to go back and reread the clause. I'm not saying he's not, but I say that I am much better looking than her. I think I'm much better. Much better. I'm a better looking person than Kamala. No, I couldn't believe it. She said, I had never heard that one. They said, no, her biggest advantage is that she's a beautiful woman. I'm going, I never thought of that. I'm better looking than she is.
Yeah. I was like, did I hear that correctly? And no one corrected him. No one corrected him. It's kind of weird. But then that's the word of the day or week or several weeks now since the governor, vice presidential nominee Wall said, this is weird. And it's only getting more weird, right?
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
So that was Trump talking about how he's so beautiful. I wonder if he has a skincare routine. Everyone has a skincare routine now, but maybe he doesn't need one. Orange spray, someone said.
That's his
skincare that was routine. You, Jackson. Yes. It's probably true. We got to remind you, though, this is not the first time Mr. Trump has commented on Kamala Harris's looks. Do you remember this?
She's terrible, but she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing. And actually, she looked very much like our great first lady, Melania. She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman. So we'll leave it at that, right?
Okay, reminder, Camilla is across the pond. She's the one that cheated with, who? The king, way back when. She was the third person in Diana's marriage. Kamala is the presidential nominee, the current vice president. But we'll overlook that and keep going. Beautiful as Melania. I've seen Melania up close, and I'm not going to disparage anyone's looks. I know you think that's where I'm getting ready to go. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. First of all, what difference does it make? Let me bring you in on that one, Jackson. What difference does it make who's beautiful? I just don't want to feel like I'm in danger. I don't want to feel like, the policies are against me 2025. Why is he commenting on his looks, her looks?
Because it's who he is. This is what he's always done, except now it's 8 years later. So people are just kind of tired of it. There's nothing new to see. As I've talked about, it's kind of funny to watch Republicans say, come on, Trump, get focused on policy. But he never has been, because this is really why Republicans like him so much. As I pointed out, if it wasn't about his personality and his antics, then they could have gone with any other Republican candidate at any time, because they're pretty much on the same page when it comes to all of their policies. But this really just goes to show how much of a simpleton Donald Trump really is. Yeah. Because let's say that he actually was like a super handsome, good-looking man. Who cares? Like, what does this have to do with anything? Mm-hmm. How is this helping you get independence? How is this helping you get swing state voters? And it's not just him saying, well, why is he saying he looks better than Kamala? Because she got Time Magazine and he wants to be on Time Magazine. Uh-huh. Why is he talking about AI crowds? Why is he posting Twitter polls and saying that all the other polls are fake? When the polls had him up, they were real. Now they're fake. He's just a simple-minded clown who's focused on the aesthetics of everything. And that's why he's losing his mind, because the aesthetics are not on his side at all right now. So
more of it. He's losing
more of it. He's losing more of his mind. Yes, exactly.
Well, and I think you're onto something with Time magazine. And you're right. Politics and beauty, get out of here. Okay. Although I
Yeah.
thought 44 and the first lady, forever first lady, good looking couple. Okay. You bring Idris Elba out, and perhaps that's a game changer. Well, it is for me, but I'm being honest about it. There's not really someone else out there who can change things, who can swing these battle states in their direction. But if Idris, and he starts talking with that English accent,
That
yeah,
might
I
do
could
it.
see it happening. But Trump is no Idris. Listen, this appears to be perhaps the newest tactic by Trump. Listen to this.
Kamala Harris back during the early days running with Joe Biden, she had a very watered down look to her. She wore a lot of neutral colors, a lot of grays, a lot of blacks, very few bright colored suits. And I'd even go as far as makeup. She didn't have a lot of makeup on and almost no jewelry at all. No rings, no necklaces, nothing. And I think that was on point. That was at the time when kind of this whole gender bender type of campaign was going on, where they didn't really want to celebrate, I think, a female. Now, if you look at her now and look at her campaign speeches and some of the pictures that's pushed out on social media and the ones that they do to press conferences, it's a very different looking Kamala Harris. She very much embraces being a female, and I think that's trying to speak to suburban women who might have been turned off on President Trump for whatever reason.
For whatever
Imagine
reason.
that. For whatever reason, a female candidate embracing her womanhood. I've never heard anybody say a man's embracing his manhood and blah, blah. So it's a little ridiculous, sexist, misogynistic. But that was Brian Glenn talking about her makeup, her clothes. When's the last time you've heard someone do that? I mean, they did get on 44 about that brown suit. Was it tan?
Yeah,
that was
tan.
stupid. Right.
It's pretty
and this
fly,
is
though.
stupid.
It was a good
It
looking
was
suit.
fly. Like, why are
Good
you
looking
on?
suit.
The man knows what he's doing. Okay. The look comparisons, though, would prompt X users to comment online. They lit it up. One posting, only Donald Trump would think he's better looking than this queen, a man who had to pay for sex or take it by force. Loser. Another posting, Kamala Harris is not only a better looking person on the outside, she is a better looking person on the inside as well. Donald Trump says so many dumb things, but this is hilarious. Look at the windblown look there.
Toupee.
You can't really tell, is it? Is
It's
it?
something.
Or he could be, when you do wear lace front, your edges, you have to protect your edges. So it could be something like that. You've seen the picture where there was a famous supermodel on the beach and the wind kicked up and, oh my goodness, you need some of that growth cream. But who knows? The bottom line is, why are we even talking about it? Meanwhile, Kamala Harris was asked in the campaign about leading the polls, the sweet spot, and the latest status of a ceasefire deal with Israel and Hamas. Listen to this.
CBS News has a new poll, shows that you're 3 points up nationally. What's your response to this? Do you still consider yourself the underdog here?
I very much consider us the underdog. We have a lot of work to do to earn the vote of the American people. That's why we're on this bus tour today, and we're going to be traveling this country as we've been and talking with folks, listening to folks, and hopefully earning their vote.
Do you think Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is ready to agree to a ceasefire deal?
I will not speak for him, but I will tell you that these conversations are ongoing and we are not giving up. And we are going to continue to work very hard on this. We got to get a ceasefire and we got to get those hostages out.
Okay, so she's smart. She doesn't take the bait. You'd be a fool to speak for Netanyahu. It's only going to change depending on perhaps the threat over his head, jail time, corruption, something or another. We get what's going on. Now, polling suggests voters would approve if Harris was more forceful in negotiating a ceasefire. Significant share of Democrats and independent voters in pivotal swing states, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, are more likely to vote for the Democratic presidential nominee, presumptively, of course, Kamala Harris, if said nominee pledges support for an arms embargo to Israel and if President Joe Biden secures a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Now, the findings come in new polling commissioned by the Institute of Middle Eastern Understanding Policy Project and conducted by polling firm YouGov. So there's that. Pennsylvania now, 34% of respondents said they would be more likely to vote for the Democratic nominee if the nominee vowed to withhold weapons to Israel, compared to 7% who said they would be less likely. The rest said it would make no difference at all, which is another interesting take on this. But there is more here about these findings and how important it is to voters. Arizona, 35% said they'd be more likely, while 5% would be less likely. In Georgia now, 39% said they'd be more likely, also compared to 5% who would be less likely. Zateo with the details for us, the polling results. Overall, Democrats and independents in all three states examined in the exhibited YouGov/IMEU poll have strong support for a permanent ceasefire and disapproval of unconditional aid to Israel. At least 80% of respondents in each state supported a ceasefire, while more than 60% disapproved of unconditional military aid to Israel. Roughly a quarter of respondents in all states said the violence in Gaza and candidates' positions on it is important to them, and it will likely sway the way they vote. So, Jackson, this is a delicate balancing act for Kamala Harris. It's not just so easy to declare this position, because you have some who are on the far left and others. I think I really hate to even qualify it, Jackson, because a lot of people care about what they are calling genocide, closest thing to it over there, and they just want the killing to stop, not suggesting that Israel's wrong for defending itself, of course, or for defending against the horrific attacks, the hostages still being held after October 7th. But this is such a pivotal issue for Kamala Harris and Governor Walz. How does she navigate this without ticking off one side or the other?
Well, I think realistically, the true test for her will be after she becomes president, because then we'll be able to see what she does, how much effort, how much of a sense of urgency she puts forth into dealing with Netanyahu. Because, he really has a lot of problems, not just what's going on with Gaza, but also just his sense of entitlement with what the United States government owes him and his regime and his ideas. So he really has a lot of issues there. But I think realistically, she's saying what she needs to say, but the real test will be after she becomes president. But there are other issues that are really helping her as well. People are thinking about their bills, their mortgages, their children's education. They're thinking about all those types of things. And on the other side, you have the Republicans who just took away Roe. Donald Trump, who on his 20-point plan said that he wants to deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. In other words, if you support Palestinian lives, you're going to be a target. So that's what's on the other side. Clear and plain as day that there's no love and no protection whatsoever, for the Palestinian people. So I don't really know what else she can do at this point, since she is not in office. But there's a lot more driving her swing towards victory than just this one issue. And then, we just played Trump saying, I'm better looking than Kamala Harris, and him doing stuff like that. The Republicans are really just tanking their campaign. So, I think that her and Walz are running a very solid campaign. I think there's a lot to learn from it. But, if you care about Palestinian lives, you can do what you want on November 5th, but we have to give her a chance if anything is going to happen at all.
And she's got this other balancing act where she has to go further, perhaps, for those who are tired of what's going on over there and disgusted by it, than President Biden. But if he does get the ceasefire, that'll help her out a lot. And then you wonder about agitators and real protesters in Chicago and how they'll be treated and her response to it. All of that. My cousin texted me a short time ago in Philadelphia. He's, I'm not gonna say he's radicalized. He's very smart and on point, and he knows these things. And he said, listen, if you think Trump's gonna take the week off here and allow the Democrats to have their moment, you're wrong. There's plotting, there's planning. I don't have any evidence of this. And by the way, neither does he, but it's never stopped my cousin. He's my favorite cousin. I just think that that's something perhaps to look out for. Do you?
I mean, I think in terms of whatever Trump is going to do is going to be what he's going to do. When it comes to how Kamala Harris handles the protesters, I mean, I still have yet to see how that's even going to be set up because, they're not going to be inside of the DNC the same way that they will be out of it. So, we just got to see what happens. She made a very good correction, again, in terms of campaigning. When at first she, told protesters, I'm speaking, then the next time she said, we're going to push for a ceasefire. Again, if she continues to do that, what more can you really ask for until she is actually in office? But I'm not personally concerned about what Donald Trump or Republicans are going to do.
Okay.
They've been doing the same stuff for 40 plus years. For longer than I've been alive, they've been running the same playbook. Oh my God, if we move an ass hair to the left of center, then communism is going to destroy us all. So I think their general playbook is failing. But all we can do is move forward with hope and play our part to push Kamala in the right direction, because that's our job is the constituency.